people will be like, I broke my shifter, I don't know what happened. It just goes in circles. See? Come on now.
She's a man, it'll make you back claws, make you cut claws, make you fall in love.
What's up, guys? So pretty much I'm almost done here, and I'm being distracted, so I'm gonna go through some things here and show y'all what you have to do if you have shift cable issues. Let me walk over here to the other side of the shop and show y'all. My old ones are sitting here on the floor because you do need a lift. Okay, I do not recommend doing it on jacks, but that's up to you. There's my old ones. There's the urethane bushings. Obviously they didn't help. I didn't see anything wrong with them, but I did see measurement wise they were a couple of millimeters off from each other. So I want to hope and say that that's probably pretty much the reason why I can't get the shifting to align between fifth gear, reverse, and first gear. So I've replaced everything on this vehicle. I've done the transmission rebuild about 4 or 5 different times, tried different things, put different forks in, changed the billet select shift plate off of it, put the stock one on, putting the gear extender in, you know, did a whole shift plate, everything. So you know, this has gotten down to where I need to figure out if this is going to be my last resort or not. But I've done the master and slave cylinder twice, brand new OEM clutch, modified fork, brand new pivot ball, and of course the release bearing. Of course you need that. So but we're gonna give this a try, and hopefully that's it. So I'm gonna go through some steps here, so that way do-it-yourselfers, if you want to do this, pretty simple. You will need a lift unless you want to do it on the ground. It's your choice, but it is quite time consuming. So okay, so what I did here was you got your 10 millimeter. Well, actually, you got to take your battery out. If you got a battery sensor, take your battery sensor off, which is going to be this little plug here. Make sure you don't damage that. It's very important to have that. And that sits right here on your battery casing. Okay, that monitors your temperature of your battery. So you're going to have that. You're going to have a 13 millimeter on the bracket, which is back here. Of course, just loosen it up. You can swing your battery out if so. 10 millimeter for your posts. 13 millimeter here on the front of the bracket, which goes right here, and then you'll have a 10 millimeter back there if you didn't already relocate the battery. And then what you're going to do after that is you're going to need to take your charge pipe off the back side, which is an 8 millimeter, which is right here, 8 millimeter, and then another 8 millimeter, which is right here on this one, and then 2 13s right here on the bottom. Make sure not to damage or over tighten those so you don't break them. And then that'll drop your power steering line. And then what you'll do from there, you'll come in and you'll have to knock out the lock shims that go here on the bracket on both sides. And what I used was, let's see here, I used this right here and the hammer, and it pushed into them, and probably won't be able to see that great because of the light, but I'll turn the light on here. Okay, so as you can see, you'll hold on, let me get into this car. I kind of have to duck through here. Okay, so what you'll do is you'll have this cable on this side, and so you'll have to push them to get your new ones in. Push it past that point, and then they come forward. So that one's nice and locked in there. And then you'll take this key right here, or your lock shim, and then you'll put it there, and then just tap it in, make sure it's nice and locked. But whenever you're getting them out, you know, line them up with that hole there, pull them out, take that one, same thing on the other side. Make sure you undo them here from your shifter. And then you're gonna have 10 millimeter. Oh, let me get some light here. 10 millimeter here, here. Let's see if I can get you in on that, 'cause I'm sorry about the camera angle. Here, here, and here. And then here comes the fun part, because you're gonna be like, what in the hell is that screw coming out from the other end? So let me show y'all real quick. Okay, so right up under here, you're going to need to take your shielding off, which will be, if you have it still, be a 10 there. There'll be another 10 here. Then there's going to be a 10 up there, right here. And then there's going to be another 10 right here. And then if you have Y-band and O2, you'll kind of need to flex it. It is flexible. It's really not like a sharp tin or anything. I mean, it is kind of sharp if you rip an edge open, but I mean, you can see it's pretty flimsy. Because you're gonna want to put it back up. You don't want to ever leave it off of there, just because if you have a catalytic converter, if you don't have a catalyst converter, and you have a catless converter, then you can just do, hold on, it's sidetracked. You can just put something up there other than that stuff there, but you want to keep that shielding on there. Okay, and then that other screw is going to be right here on the side here. It's going to be a 10 millimeter to take that off, and then that gets it all nice and loose from the cabin. And then the reason being you need to undo your downpipe is because that big old bracket that those cables are connected to, you're not going to be able to get them out forward. You got too much vacuum lines and coolant lines up front. So let's take a look at what else we need to get done up there in the front by the way. Alright guys, so here we are back at the engine compartment, and this is where your bracket back there. Sorry about the lighting. I don't even know where the heck my flashlight is. Hold on, actually, you know what? I think I do. So bear with me. You can never go wrong with a flashlight. Okay, so back there you're probably wondering, how the hell do I get that bracket out? Okay, there is an 18 millimeter bolt, and you can see right there, there's one. It's not perfectly sitting up on its bracket mounting surface yet, and then there's the other one right there just between these cables. Now you don't want to damage or stretch or bind your socket in between or onto the cables. So what I have is a really long extension, and then I have a swivel 18 millimeter, and I put the swivel down on first, and then I go ahead and then I put the extension on down on top of it, and then of course you hit it with your impact, and reach your hand down in there, slowly grab them out, so that way you don't lose them, because I know people are always like, damn, I dropped the freaking bolt and I can't get it, and god dang it, now my foot hurts, so I'm gonna have to go sit down and drink a beer and rest for a couple hours and then come back out and mess with it. So and then of course after that, once you get all that done, you just pop your wheels back up on top of your selector, and then you're pretty much good to rock and roll. But there was one other thing that I was going to mention, but I can't remember. Oh, and yeah, don't forget you also have a 10 millimeter here in case you still have your stock solenoids. So they are tedious, they are a little bit of a pain in the butt, but I mean, once it goes back together, I mean, it's pretty good. So just to let y'all know that they aren't really all that bad, but you will need a lift because you're going to have a lot of up and down. So if you have any other questions, just let me know, but I'm pretty sure majority of you that are tearing into your vehicles won't have any questions because you'll know what you're doing. So, all right, y'all.